So yeah, just let me know whenever you guys are ready for me.
Perfect.
Okay, we're
See you
recording.
again, though.
You want to call the meeting to order?
Okay.
Well, I have a question before you call. 1, 2, 3. Jake hasn't been, I mean, we have to do the oath of office first because he's not been sworn in yet as the newest board member. So that would make a quorum. So how do we handle that?
All right, who do we have? We've got Corliss, Marty, James.
And Jake, who's the new board member that I got to swear in first.
Well, let's see here. How many total do we have on our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
We're missing Chunky and Becky
And Kim.
and Kim, which she won't be here.
Okay, so a majority is quorum.
So does Jake count, or can
No,
we?
He doesn't
Okay.
count that.
Can we swear him in prior to it?
Here.
It's on the agenda as the first item.
I understand, but it's. Yeah, I think we're okay.
So we can just swear him in and then we can proceed, or?
No, let's go ahead and convene the meeting. Call
Okay.
it order, and then he will take the oath. first.
Okay.
So.
Perfect.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's at 5:05 with roll call. Is that proper protocol?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call. We have Marty. James, are you there?
I'm here. Like I am.
Yeah, we can't see you. Can you?
I don't know what I need to do. You the expert. I need
think
to.
At
Oh,
the top
James,
right
just-
of your name, there should be a little 3 dots where you can click on to enable your camera or your video.
Okay, here we go.
There you are.
Huh.
There you are.
There he is.
James, myself, and so do I count Jake right now, or?
Yes, count him as toward the quorum, and then he will be to establish a quorum, and then he will be sworn in first item.
Okay. So that's Marty, James, myself, and Jake. And
Missing is Kim and Becky.
And
Okay.
Chunky.
okay, missing Kim, Becky, and Chunky.
And Chunky is.
Arthur.
Okay,
Arthur, sorry. Arthur Busby.
the public may not know who Chunky is, so.
Oh, okay.
Sure we have a clean record.
Sorry. Oh, and Chunky is Arthur Busby, and Kim Story, and Becky Toscano.
Okay,
Okay, and so we will move forward and we'll call for any public comments.
there are no requests
Okay,
for
they're on.
comments in the chat. So if anybody that's on currently has any public comments to make, you can make those now.
Okay, hearing none, we will move to the next item. Well, the first item actually, which is the oath of office, administer the oath of office to appointed board director Jake Cherry.
So Chris, would I just recite this and have him repeat after me like we would in person?
Yes,
Okay. Does he have to raise his hand while he's driving?
yes. Oh, well,
Okay. Hey,
Okay.
Jake. Okay. Oh. And I think Jake is muted right now.
Okay, there he is.
There we go. Can you hear me okay?
Hello. Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yes. Okay, we're gonna do your oath of office, and I'll need you to, if you can pull over so you can raise your hand and repeat after me. Okay. All right. I state your name.
I, Jake Cherry,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I'll faithfully execute the duties
of the office of Economic Development Corporation Board Director
of Economic Development Corporation Director
for Mexia, Texas,
from Mexia, Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and the laws
the Constitution and the laws
of the United States and of this state.
of the United States and of this state.
So help me God.
Help God.
All right, congratulations. You've officially taken the oath of a board director. So officially welcome to the crew.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you, Joanna. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Jake. We'll move on to the next item, which is election of the Mexia EDC officers for fiscal year 2021. We'll accept nominations and vote to elect an MECD board director to serve as board president.
I'll nominate Arthur Busby for president.
I'll
Do we need
second that.
somebody to, okay, I see we need someone to second the motion. Okay.
We have a second?
I second.
I think Jake seconded.
James, is that James or Jake?
I think Jake did
James.
first. But we can do either way.
Second?
Okay, so it's been motioned and second that Arthur Busby be nominated as to serve as MEDC board director.
President.
MECD board president. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Accept the next item will accept nominations and vote to elect a MEDC director to serve as board vice president. Any nominations?
I nominate Carlos.
I'll second.
Okay. Well, it has been motioned and second that Corliss Calvin be nominated to serve as the MEDC board vice president. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. The third item, accept nominations and vote to elect an MEDC board director to serve as board secretary treasurer. Any nominations?
I'll nominate Kim Story.
Second.
Second.
That.
Okay, it's been motioned and second to nominate Kim Story as the MEDC board secretary and treasurer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Consider and if deemed appropriate, approve Joanna Shivers, MEDC Executive Director, to serve as Assistant Secretary Treasurer to the MEDC Board of Directors.
This is a formality like we do every year, just because I'm helping with preparing the financials, and any notes need to be taken during executive session if the secretary is not present to do so.
Okay, nomination?
I think
Okay,
it's just, is Chris, is it just a motion and a second to approve?
Yes.
okay, I'll motion to approve Joanna Shivers as the, to serve as Assistant Secretary Treasurer to the MEDC Board of Directors. May I?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been motioned and second that Joanna Shivers serve as the Assistant Secretary Treasurer to the MEDC Board of Directors. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. The next item 3, authorize signatures for depository accounts. Discussion and possible action authorizing Incommons Bank to remove Wesley Pittman as a signatory on the MEDC bank accounts. We need a motion for that?
So moved.
Yes.
Okay. We got a motion second.
I'll second that.
It's been motioned and second that Wesley Pittman be removed from the MEDC board signatory on the bank accounts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action authorizing Incommons Bank to add Jake Cherry as a signatory on the MEDC bank accounts. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Oh,
Second?
I move. Second. I don't know.
All right. So it's been motioned and second that
There you go.
Jake Cherry be added as a signatory on the MEDC bank accounts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Hey, Chris,
Yes.
Junkie texted me and said, I guess he's trying to get in, I guess.
I just went to him and then he disappeared.
Oh,
Hang on a second.
I will give y'all a heads up. I may lose y'all for a brief second. If I get out, I'll try to jump back in.
Okay, I'm inviting him now.
There we go. All right, can you hear us, Chunky? I think you have it muted on Zoom.
Can you hear me?
There we are.
There you
Yeah,
go.
welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Are you able to enable your video?
Okay. No video for you? Okay, Chris, we have to wait for one of them to get on, right?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome back, Jake.
Sorry, I'm crossing the threshold down here in the Everglades.
Oh, there's Chunky.
Okay, hey, Junkie.
How you
All
doing?
right, we're on agenda item 3C. Discussion and possible action authorizing Joanna Shivers to make changes to revise the authorized users for the text pool account to reflect staffing and the officers voted in the fiscal year 2021. Motion,
So moved.
second.
Second.
It's been motioned and second that Joanna be authorized to make changes to revise the authorized users for the text pool account to reflect staffing and the officers voted in fiscal year 2021. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Financials, consider and deem.
Oh, I think we have number 4, the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, my bad. Okay, item 4, consider and if deemed appropriate, approve the minutes of the Mexia EDC board meeting held on September 8th, 2020. Any discussion or items of the items from the September meeting? If not, can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second?
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and second. We approve the minutes from the September 8th meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Did we lose James?
Apparently we did.
Yes.
We still have a quorum, so
Okay.
Motion carries. Next item, financials, consider and deem if appropriate to approve the financials for September 2020. Any questions or discussions on any of the financial items for September? Hearing none. Can I get a motion to approve the financials for September 2020?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
it's been motion and second that we approve the financials for September 2020. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Consider and if deemed appropriate, approve the bills for payment. Joanna sent a list of the bills for payment. Any discussion? Can we get a motion to approve the bills for payment?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Second.
it's been motion and second that we approve the bills for payment. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion, aye. Motion on the approving, not the opposing. Motion carries. Okay, item 6. Woo. Site location partnership. Discussion and possible action regarding a renewal agreement from site location partnership for networking and marketing the Mexia Industrial Park during the fiscal year 2021.
Yes. So last year, if you may remember, we signed a contract with Site Location Partnership just for the networking and the marketing of the industrial park. Part of that agreement was to participate in trade shows because we were given access to that, and then any contacts that were made from any of the trade shows. And I was guaranteed a certain amount of meetings to be held one-on-one with site selection consultants and similar professionals. And with COVID disrupting everyone's cycles, that had to be altered. And I think SLP stepped up and kind of changed everything. We met via Zoom instead of all face-to-face, since no one's really meeting face-to-face, especially in trade shows aren't happening anymore. They're virtual, and they've kind of adjusted their regular format to accommodate our contract to make sure they were still fulfilling their end of the deal. I did ask Justin Thompson with SLP just to say hello, since the board has not formally met him. I've talked with him and Mark Darce there numerous times, and was there in California with them at the trade show in Anaheim back in February, just before everything kind of blew up in the world. So it was nice to at least participate in one show with them and have them represent the Mexia EDC as one of their clients. And so I didn't know if Justin, you just kind of wanted to do a brief introduction and just kind of a couple of key points just to share what we've worked on over the last 12 months.
Yeah, just for a brief overview, I'm Justin Thompson. I'm CEO of Site Location Partnership. SLP is an easier way of spitting it out. But we're based in Flower Mound. We're about 15 minutes north of DFW. We have 7 employees on staff. One side of our business helps companies with a site selection process of expanding or relocating. And the other side works with economic development groups such as the EDC to help them recruit these type of companies. Our niche is industrial projects from small to mid-sized companies, creating anywhere from 25 to 100 jobs. That's kind of our sweet spot. Our focus as far as working with Joanna and the EDC has been to identify good fit companies for Mexia. And what I mean by that are small to medium-sized companies, which is our niche, with projects in that same 25 to 100 job range that are from industries that we've determined to be compatible for you guys. We're spending more time targeting companies based in non-business friendly areas like California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. A lot of them have had enough of the regulatory environments there. It's toxic as far as regulations go, and operating costs are killing them right now. Obviously, even more so because of COVID. So depending on their operational setup, a lot of them are looking at Texas, whether it be for a smaller scale expansion to increase their production or an outright relocation to move all their business to Texas. And Texas is a business friendly state, from a regulatory perspective. And, they could be saving, depending on their operational setup, 15, 20, 25% in operating costs with their facility, taxes, labor, utilities, et cetera. The challenge is that most of these companies in this situation, unless they already do business in Texas or regionally, they probably have never even heard of you guys, Mexia. But once they do, you have a good story to tell and some great assets where sometimes their ears perk up. It's just a matter of them knowing about you so you can get on their radar screen. We're focusing on promoting the industrial park to 4 target industries: food processing, the first one, the second one being metalworking primarily being fabricated metal product manufacturing, machinery, industrial equipment manufacturing, those type of companies. Plastics is the third industry, and distribution logistics is the fourth, which is mainly warehousing and transportation type operations. One project we're excited about that's promising is a food processing related expansion. A company produces frozen fruit and berry products to supply to grocery stores and restaurants and other food processing companies to use as ingredients. And we've worked with Joanna on this one. She sent a response with some information on what the company is looking for. There's definitely interest on their end. Maya's on a short list. They've narrowed it down to about 6 other communities in Texas, and they started out, just FYI, by looking at around 20. So we've already gone through a couple of cuts. This will be for a build-to-suit. I think we were looking at like a 7-acre parcel, Joanna, in the industrial park. A 40,000 square foot as far as the facility goes. 17 jobs to start, probably around 30 peak within the next 3 years. Around $4 million capital investment as far as what they're bringing to the table. They were hoping to be further along in the process. COVID's delayed it somewhat for obvious reasons, but they picked back up on things now in the screening and narrowing it down another round. And we anticipate they'll be making site visits probably before year end, which is a good thing. It's promising, and we look forward to seeing how things play out with this one. Getting back to the 4 target industries I mentioned earlier, we've done research to find specific types of companies involved in those industries by doing a lot of background research and intel to develop a hit list of right around 1,500 target companies. And this is kind of the foundation of our work with email marketing, mail merges, LinkedIn, other outreach, educate them on Mexia and just to get you on the radar screen. Economic development is, I mean, it's all about relationships. So we also set up 10 Zoom meetings for Joanna earlier this year with other site selectors, and we'll be doing more of those in the future. And the objective here, again, is to familiarize them with Mexia, put a face with a name, and try to promote the industrial park to get on their radar screen for future projects or current deals that they're working right now. And supplemental as a supplement, we've also done a couple of trade shows. We did one in Chicago and Anaheim before COVID hit. And since then, the shows that we do have been, this is just one part of the puzzle beyond the databases and the electronic marketing. Third thing would be the trade shows, but a lot of them have gone virtual. So we're trying to hit that angle as far as meeting with companies interactively. They have kind of an interactive exhibition directory. Each show is different, but you know, we're trying to promote you guys that way. And then we also have another angle where we have a microsite webpage that we created to promote you guys on our website, mainly to generate web hits back to the EDC's website. Some more details as far as COVID goes. I mean, this has been a mess. Obviously, it's been a debacle. It's frustrating. Hopefully we'll get over it sooner than later. But the uncertainties obviously put some projects on hold. But there have been and will continue to be opportunities arising from a lot of companies that are reevaluating their supply chain. Some companies are over reliant on suppliers from overseas, like China, and lots of companies may be doing some of their manufacturing overseas, and now they're looking at reshoring it to bring it back to the US. So those are promising. Other companies are struggling right now. They're located in more expensive metro markets, these larger cities, with their operating costs being so high, and they're in a tough spot. So they're starting to look at locations in smaller scale communities, like you guys, where they can cut costs. Also, some companies in big cities are just worried about business continuity and the risk from COVID. So they're looking at smaller cities outside of major markets with lower population density and more open space. Draw prime pickings right now to pursue, and we're on top of it, and we're going to keep looking at these and trying to bring some opportunities to the table. So to wrap things up, that's kind of a broad overview of the relationship. We have some really solid infrastructure in place. Just have to continue maintaining consistency and promoting Mexia and the industrial park and nurturing these relationships. You have some great assets as far as logistics go with your location, and easy access to serve, larger markets. Your costs of doing business are obviously lower than big cities, and that's something to promote and sell you guys as far as competing. The industrial park, as far as we're concerned, I mean, it's a hidden gem. You guys have taken the time to get some infrastructure in place. A lot of companies would prefer an existing building, but they're hard to find these days. Usually if there's something on the market, it has warts, there's something wrong with it, and that's why it's there. So a lot of them are looking to do build-to-suits just because we can get the building exactly how they want it and built to their specs. They do find a building, they usually have to retrofit it and make all kind of improvements. So this is a much easier route. The fact that, that you guys own, the land in there makes things much easier as far as, making the deal happen without any outside parties to work with. You've got a good workforce, a really good labor shed for these smaller scale projects that we're going after in that 25 to 100 job range. We're not going after Fortune 500 companies. The smaller scale projects are the better fit for you guys, and they can be really solid projects, as far as what they bring to the table. But it's also I mentioned the big city companies, the hustle and the bustle. You've got a more laid back and relaxing quality of life as far as the lifestyle goes, with small town charm, if you will. So that's also something that's attractive. So it's a nice blend. You guys have an attractive story to tell. Like I say, a lot of it's just a matter of educating these companies and letting them know who you are and what you're all about, and that you're open for business. And, you've got a nice site in the industrial park for them to take a look at, if it's a good fit. So we're excited to continue working with you guys and Joanna and building upon our momentum. And that's basically the overview. I appreciate everyone's time. Any questions?
Yes, you said something about a meat packing plant, a processing plant that might come visit. I mean, is that a meat processing or just the distribution meat, or just what are you?
It's frozen fruit like blackberries and raspberries. Like if you go in the grocery store and you see these prepackaged berries that are frozen, like whenever you go in the frozen food section, a lot of that is some of their products, not necessarily in your store. They're trying to grow more regionally, but that's the type of products that they make. And then they'll also supply them, like I mentioned, to restaurants, for commercial bakeries or people that are making desserts or anything with berries in them. They kind of service that market too. And then other bigger manufacturers and food processors that are using fruits and berries and, as far as ingredients in their manufacturing process, that's some of their customers too. So it's not meat related at all. It's cleaner, as I like to say. It's not going to stink. It's not dirty. So it's a solid project. Like I said, it's a small, I say small, but I mean, that's good for you guys. I mean, it's going to create 20 jobs and it could grow from there. I mean, that's perfect. I would rather, community your size, I would rather have an aquarium with a lot of small to medium sized fish just for diversity and stability than having one big monster company. I've seen so many communities devastated by having one large employer that the economy is dependent upon, and something goes south and they shut down and it just kills them. And I know some that they're still recovering from these closures from 3, 4, 5 years ago. So we like the little fish. Those are better suited for communities like you guys.
Yeah, we're on the short list for that one. So fingers crossed that they still maintain that interest in Mexia and get to the point of actually wanting to see the property for themselves.
Yeah, and hopefully we get them out there. And it's a collaborative effort. It's a team effort in trying to sell them on locating there. Everyone has to play their part. Everyone has to be on the same page. And the main thing in winning deals as a smaller scale community is versus bigger communities is making them feel wanted, making them feel special, rolling out the red carpet, just being aggressive, that you're, pro business and business friendly, but just giving them that sense that they're going to contribute, to the community and that they're going to be players. And I've seen deals won that way, where they wanted to go to a bigger city, and the bigger city, they go out there for a visit and they wanted them, but they didn't, like I said, they didn't really roll up the red carpet. And that can mean a lot to some of these different companies. So hopefully we can get them out there, and and we'll coach Joanna a little bit as far as some more intricacies of the project, and and the CEO and what he's looking for, and kind of figure out a game plan when the time is right.
Thank you, Justin.
All right, any other questions?
And so for the agenda item, go ahead. Sorry.
Hey, Justin. I'm kind of new to this, but something did stick out in your little presentation there. You said something that y'all are tracking how many hits that our little links getting on what y'all provide there. Do you have that number for us as far as?
Yeah, we've got some statistical reports that we've been meaning to give to Joanna, and I've had one person out. So yeah, we've got some reports as far as hits and tracking and click-throughs and all that stuff. So yeah, we'll get that to Joanna probably later this week as soon as we can, just to kind
Okay, that'll work.
on yeah, and I know she's working on a video too, and we want to start plugging that as well on our website and on some of the stuff that we're getting out to try to get you some more exposure that way.
How many different packages do you have, or just got one package?
We've got some different packages that kind of, y'all are kind of mid-level, like kind of towards the, we've got one that starts off a little bit lower, but they go up. You guys are, at $14,995, and we've got another one that goes up to $17,700, and then another one that goes up to 20. There's one below you guys. It's kind of based upon the number of companies we go after and the meetings that we set up. So Joanna and I thought, where we were, the first year, I didn't want to be overly aggressive for you guys going after too many companies. So we thought that would be a good starting point, and I think it has been. So I recommend us staying at that level. Maybe in the future we can knock it up a notch and go to a more aggressive package, but I think that's for the sake of consistency, I think that's good, the level that you're at right now.
With the situation with the COVID pandemic, how has that affected your ability to make the contacts? How has that been diminished contacts, or are you able to contact people virtually, or how is that, and what is the climate of the businesses?
That's a good question. When COVID hit and businesses were closed, especially in some of these more liberal markets, I guess, if you want to call them that, we weren't very comfortable in being aggressive as far as reaching out to them. I mean, if their business is closed, the last thing that they're worrying about right now is expanding or relocating.
Right.
So we took a more subtle approach to be more of a solutions-based outreach and concept, where when the time is right, we're here. And we kind of took that approach until places started reopening again and whatnot. So we took it down a notch when things got really bad. We kept nurturing the relationships. We just weren't as aggressive, I guess, is a way of putting it, but more of a, how can we help you? If you have any questions about PPP loans or IDLs, we wanted to be a resource so that we could get that dialogue going and the relationship. And when hopefully things got better and they were ready to do something, they thought highly of us, and when we had that relationship going. As things reopened, we started getting away from when the time is right to more of a direct approach. As far as we have had some clients that have had site visits, surprisingly, but a lot of them, before they will come out there, would probably do a virtual meeting just to kind of get a better feel and flavor for everything. But I mean, if the deal's going to happen, they're going to have to come out there, and they're going to need to say. So that's something that we would approach on a case-by-case basis, depending on who we're dealing with and setting up the itinerary and all that good stuff. So a lot of Zoom meetings, and just changing the approach a little bit, being more subtle, and not being as aggressive. We're being aggressive now, but we're for 2 or 3 months there, we just weren't very comfortable. Hey, you want to expand or relocate? To my, we wanted to try to be sensitive until things got a little bit better, but places are reopened now, and so we're kind of going back on the way we were doing things.
Right. Now, I know this is going to be kind of a speculatory question, but if COVID had not happened, how much more contact do you think you would have been able to make? Is that a question that you could answer?
I would like to, but oh man, that's tough to. I mean, different industries have, some industries have been a little bit better as far as the reaction to COVID goes than others, just kind of based on supply and demand. I mean, there are some contacts and conversations that may have started because maybe their production capacity has gone up from COVID, or maybe they want to bring some of their manufacturing back, and maybe those opportunities hadn't been there if not for COVID. But there are also a lot of projects that we're going to do something and now they're not, or they're on hold. In the election, there are some companies that are waiting for the election to play out. So I wish I could put a number on it, a definitive number, but there's so many variables and factors. It would be hard to do that.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I got one more, Justin. Is there something, surely y'all manage different EDCs and things like that as far as helping them attract businesses in. Is there something that other, the people that you see consistently get, new business in and things like that? Is there something that they offer that, we're not offering, or, maybe we have the capabilities to offer it?
The video is a really good idea these days that Joanna's working on, just to kind of, it's one thing to sell a company on assets, but if they can actually get a little bit of a snippet of a tour and something more tangible, I think we get more out of it. I will say this, I think it's attractive you guys own that land, but depending on the project and how many jobs they're creating, the quality of the jobs, the investment. We've had some different communities, EDCs, that actually own land in their industrial park that have offered to do, like I said, depending on the project, doing a build to suit for the company, and then and doing a lease back to the company. So that's, you guys have ownership in the land. It's not a third party. So that's something that we may, something to keep in mind down the road, depending on the project. Like I said, maybe offering them some more support as far as the different types of incentives go. Incentives should never be the driver of a project. They need to want to do business there for the right reasons. But tiebreaker scenario, yes, incentives can come into play, obviously. But any type of abatements or free land or things like that, depending on the project, or maybe offering to do a build to suit and a lease back. Just flexibility on your end as far as working with these companies and taking their situation into account can be very advantageous. But the fact that you're being aggressive and Joanna's being aggressive, working with us and pounding the pavement and getting your name out there versus other places that are kind of just sitting there and being more, reactionary, is a very good thing. If you want to win deals, you have to work for them. Nothing, especially these days, the things are not, this is a tough business. Competition's so tough. So trying to educate a company and then convince them to locate there, it's challenging, but you guys are, you're taking the right approach as far as, and Joanna's doing a great job. The proposal she put together for that company was really good. It was well organized. We kind of critiqued it a little bit and it worked, enough to the point that you guys are still on the short list and in contention. So she's doing a really good job for you guys too. And I deal with a lot of different economic development groups, just FYI.
Okay. Thank you. So this item here, are we looking to potentially renew?
Yes,
Or a renewed agreement?
because the contract, I think our last contract just finished up, because I think it was tied into the fiscal year. So this would be the start of the new year with them, another year.
Correct.
Okay, so would we make a motion to renew for a renewed agreement with
Yes,
Site Location Partnership?
correct.
Okay. Would anyone like to motion?
So moved.
A motion to renew the partnership with Site location partnership for another year.
I believe Marty made a motion.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Marty, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and second that we would renew the agreement with the site location partnership for another year for networking and marketing for the Mexia Industrial Park. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Justin, for being here,
Justin,
Thank
sharing
you
the
for your time.
information.
I appreciate all of your time, and I look forward to working with all you guys. And
You're stuck with me for another year. You're welcome.
you're doing really good, and we're excited to
you.
work. We're excited to continue the relationship. So, thanks for having me, and hope to see you guys in person sometime soon.
Yes.
all right, thank you, sir.
Have a good night.
You too.
You too.
Joanna, is that line item 63061 on the proposed budget or the new budget?
What was it? 6-3.
63061,
I'm scrolling. 630.
the recruiting
Industrial
partnership.
recruitment. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we had a
Go ahead.
line items set aside for that.
Okay, the next agenda item 7, depository contract discussion and possible action regarding proposals for a new depository agreement with a local financial institution.
Yes, we're currently banking with Commons Bank, and the EDC signed a 5-year depository contract with them, and then after the first 3, it was going to be annual, depending on the board wanted to do another year or not. And so the contract will be up in December. And so I didn't know if the board wanted, if the board wants me to seek proposals for new banking depository contracts with other financial institutions, I would just need direction to do so. Otherwise, the contract will be up in December for renewal within Commons. So it's really the board's discretion which direction you want to take with it.
I make a motion, we go out for bid to take other proposals.
Okay.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second,
Was that Marty?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. It's been
Joanna, I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
Who's abstaining?
Jake,
Why is that?
he works at a local bank.
Because I'm probably going to put a bid in on it.
Joanna, we'll need Jake to fill out a conflict of interest form and have that on file with the EDC.
Okay.
Okay, it's been motioned and second for actions regarding proposals for a new depository agreement with the local financial institution. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, payroll services, discussion and possible action regarding an agreement with the city of Mexia to conduct payroll services for paid staff.
This is something that has been going on between the EDC and the city for many years with the payroll. They process the payroll because our insurance for staff is tied in with the cities just to get the group discount. And the EDC pays for staff salaries and benefits, but the city processes the payroll, and it's the $10,000 a year. We pay quarterly, the $2,500. There's the last time this came up, I believe, when Rick was still on the board, he just wanted to bring it up every fiscal year just to get the board's approval on continuing or not this service. So this is on here for those approvals or discussion.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion for
I'll move.
second?
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Oh, we need to vote.
Oh, okay. Well then, all in favor for action regarding an agreement with the city of Mexia to conduct payroll services for the MEDC staff. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. The next item, the Mexia Industrial Park discussion and possible action regarding the contract between the Mexia EDC and Jerry Kennedy for maintenance and upkeep of the MEDC property owned at the Mexia Industrial Park.
Yes, this agenda item was requested by James because there were some concerns about the industrial park property not being maintained properly. And I did reach out. I know last month it was brought up that because the way that the contract was stated was Mr. Kennedy could bale the hay and have the hay rights to it, but the frontage on all the main roads at the industrial park and Highway 14 needed to be maintained to a certain standard as per the contract, and that was not being done. So I reached out to him again via email, and I did hear back from him, and it looks like he is wanting to get out of the contract. He sent me an email, sent me 2 different emails. One was just saying that he was done with it. And the second one, he followed up stating of a more formal resignation and wanting, because he's selling his property. So he won't be able to fulfill the remainder of the contract. So I didn't know James had any other concerns that he wanted to mention since this was requested by him.
Oh, yeah. I just think we need to put that thing, put a real lawn service company cutting that grass, because we need to have it, that entranceway need to be well maintained, like somebody's living there. And that was my concern. And they, you know, me and Chucky on that, I guess, clean up Mexia committee. And, you know, it's kind of look bad when they put that on their list that places need to be cut. It kind of, you know, we just need to maintain that. We need to go out and figure out how much we want cut and just set it up like that. And if you need somebody to help you, how much the road need to be cut to the north or south and all the way into the on Progress Boulevard, we just need to get something set up, and because it just look bad when it grows up like that.
Yeah, all those specifications were actually part of the contract where it was designated what areas needed to be maintained a certain length and everything. So I guess with Mr. Kennedy's email, I guess the board can discuss that they want to, I can work on getting bids, proposals for the board to review for maintenance for review at the next meeting, or whatever the board would like me to do.
Yeah, let's go out. Let's go out for bid, and let's kind of get a game plan together. Kind of what we want. Let's make sure we know exactly what we want to do out there and how much we want mowed, and then put it out for bid.
Can we call them?
Joanna, how many acres?
Well, for the maintenance.
Yeah, well, what's on, how many acres are on Industrial Boulevard there?
I'm not sure about the
Progress
acreage.
Way.
I'm not sure about the actual acreage, but let me pull up the agreement. I've got it in front of me here. And I can forward this to the board as a reminder of what was previously approved, but it's, let's see. Because part of the contract was, and the contract wasn't to be up until the end of March of 2021. So the agreement can be terminated within 30 days written notice of either party wanting to terminate the contract. And so I do have that in writing from Mr. Kennedy via email. And this is the property along Highway 14, and then obviously Industrial Boulevard and Progress Boulevard. And I'm trying to find the, because part of it is for hay. Because I want to say it was 30 feet from the main roadways that had to be maintained within a certain amount of inches So it could not exceed a certain height of grass being grown. But I will forward this to the board. I'm just trying to read through this language really quickly. But I'm not sure about the, we didn't specify the actual acreage. It was just kind of locations along the roadways.
Jake, I think it's like 650 acres out there. All
The
total.
total of the industrial park is a little less than 600 acres, but not all of that was being maintained because a lot of our properties being leased out by a cattle company.
Yeah. Henderson has at least, right?
Yes, correct. So this was all of the Highway 14 frontage, all the areas like behind and around Kennedy that go back to Industrial Boulevard, in between Carry On and Rogers Manufacturing, and that section that was in between Navarro College and Martin Marietta, in that section on Industrial, and then Progress
Yeah.
Boulevard around the road up to the fence. So what I can do, if the board is wanting to seek any some new proposals to bring, I can send this contract to you, and if there are any changes that the board would like made in the contract. Chris, does that have to be something that's done in a formal manner, or can suggestions be added to it via email, or how does that work? Or do we have to look at the contract at a meeting to review it and approve it?
Yeah, we'll need to probably bring it back at the next meeting with
Okay.
any revisions and, I mean, if there's suggestions that need to be made now, let's get those on record so there's direction, but.
So can we seek proposals prior to that, or do we have to wait until? I mean, we can still seek proposals for the maintenance, correct?
Coming back at the next meeting.
Okay.
But what do we do about this current contract? Do we have to make any motions to terminate the contract? He's requested to get out of the contract. What do we, as a board, how do we proceed to terminate that contract?
So you need services for a particular time, or are we in a period where we don't really need his services that you could go ahead and terminate?
Did I, in his correspondence, did he say he was cutting it one more time? And that was gonna be the last time, or?
On what day was this? On Friday, on Friday, he emailed me saying that he mowed Industrial Boulevard that morning. He will be mowing Highway 14 that afternoon. After that, the board can handle it. And then he emailed me Monday morning. He's in the process of mowing and trimming the complete area so that it will be as he said it would be. So.
All right, so 9A, you can make a motion to terminate the contract effective at the end of the month. And then that would give you, that would sort of give you a clean, you can pay him for whatever it is that he's earned under the current contract. And then Joanna can go out and seek proposals for a new mowing contract and bring that to you at the next meeting.
Okay, so would it be the board's pleasure to terminate the current contract at the end of October? If so, I would entertain a motion.
As long as what Jerry Lee says he's going to do is done.
President Calvin, this is Eric, the city manager. Could I make a point of information?
Yes.
On Sunday, I received notification that there was a water leak out by the industrial park. And when we got there, what I was told was the individual mowing had run over a fire hydrant along 14. The fire hydrant is unserviceable. It took about 9 hours to effect the repair. So for the EDC, it was the fire hydrant that's next to that one little house that's left on the west side of the road, just up from where the Progress Boulevard is. So it doesn't really affect your fire coverage for the industrial park. But I've been looking at the ordinance. The city may have to make certain charges against Mr. Kennedy for the repair that was made. And when I was out there, it's been really busy. And Joanne, I apologize. I haven't even had a chance to let you know this, and I apologize for that. I should have done that in advance, but it's just been really busy
Okay.
the past couple of days. When I was out there, he had made one round where he hit the fire hydrant, and then after that, he just left. So I don't know if that's bearing on his decision at all.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay, so, but basically what he committed to do, he hasn't done. And it's still in need of being cut.
I can follow up. I'll take a look at it tomorrow. I'll drive out there and look to see if any progress has been made, and then I will reach out to him and check on the status of that and report back to the board.
Okay, so with that in mind, do we table this, or is there any motion to take right now?
We do need to get a bid, don't we, going?
I'm sorry?
We do need to get a bid going, don't we?
Yes.
I can put an ad out for to seek proposals and then have those prepared for the board at the next meeting. And then at that time, we can go over the contract to make sure the terms of that contract, whoever may be with, suits the board's what they want stated in there for that person. And then
Yeah, before we go out for bids, we need to know how we want it mowed. You know, so that person will know how many cycles or whatever. They need to know that before we even try to post it, because, you know, Kennedy was doing it for free, but we just need to let them know, whoever's gonna bid on it. And is there any way you can draw, like we already got blueprints or prints over the Progress Boulevard? In certain areas, we want to keep maintaining 2 inches, and another area we might want 7 inches of height. Can we get something like a drawing like that, so everybody be on the same page?
That's what I've done for each proposal. When I seek proposals, there's a packet that each person that applies for it is given, and it shows, it has maps in there to show what areas need to be maintained. And it has a description of the property as well and what the standards are to be.
So you gotta remember, one section we're gonna mow probably every other week, and another section we might mow twice a month. And we just need to, I mean, figure that out before we put it out for bids. Or you gonna want the guy to charge him, you know, each time you come, one flat rate, or 2 different rates for each section? You have to look at that.
Okay, then for this agenda item, with the work being incomplete, do we table this? Do we motion it off? What do we do with this one? Item A. Do we?
He's telling you that he's not gonna mow. So, I mean, you might as well go ahead and probably terminate the contract so that you've got a clean break. Or accept his termination. That could be a motion to accept his notice of termination of the contract.
Okay. And so if he didn't do the work, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Corliss. I'm sorry.
I have a question for Eric. Eric, is this gonna interfere with anything that y'all might have if we terminate this contract, as far as maybe recouping the cost for the repairs to the fire hydrant if we terminate the contract?
No, sir. What I'm told is the way that works is this is between us and the party that caused the damage, not between us and the property owner. So it's between the city and Mr. Kennedy.
Okay, great, great.
One of the requirements in the proposal was that he be insured for situations like this, and that was already, he had given us the proof of insurance, so it's not on the EDCs.
Okay,
Hands.
I will, I'll move that we terminate the contract. That way it's shown in the minutes that we didn't let him get out of it. We were dissatisfied with his work. So, I'll move that we terminate the contract with Jerry Kennedy for lawn keeping or upkeep.
okay, is there an effective date that we're?
Immediately.
So the contract
Effective
states there's to be a 30-day notice. Is that going to make a difference, Chris?
We have to give him 30 days as of tonight.
Okay.
Okay, so would that be 30 days from when he sent us the letter, 30 days from last Friday?
From today,
Whatever it was, or 30 days from today?
from
Yeah.
today, I believe.
Okay. Is there a second?
Hey, before you vote, this is Eric again. Hey, Chris, do
Yeah.
you think on something like this, it helps me a little bit out for the record in case Mr. Kenny comes back. Do you want to classify it as a termination for convenience or a termination for cause?
Well, he's not an employee. I mean, we just had a contract with him to mow. I mean, it's the cause. So, I mean, if you want to terminate it and have Joanna or have to him saying, we received your notice and we're terminating the agreement for cause, we can do that.
I was suggesting termination for convenience is the least restrictive. Sometimes if you try to call it termination for cause, which means fault on the part of one party or the other, that gets into, did you allow the contractor the opportunity to make remedy? Whereas it sounds like, I don't have the contract in front of me, but it sounds like either party can terminate for convenience. And I just thought for the record, it might be worth it to specify what the rationale for termination was. And I would recommend just say for convenience, we just no longer want to work with this person, not for any specific cause.
Let's go with that recommendation, Eric. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion needs to include terminating the contract for cause,
Convenience.
for convenience, I'm sorry.
So
Okay. So it's been motioned and second that we terminate the contract for Jerry Kennedy for the maintenance of the EDC owned property for convenience. The motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item B, 9B, discussion regarding seeking recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Board for property located at the Mexia Industrial Park.
Before we start that one, can we, was I given direction to seek bids? Do we need a motion for that, Chris? Or
No.
proposals? What was that? I'm sorry.
There's no action in that agenda item. It's just,
Okay. Just direction?
yeah, you've got direction to go seek proposals.
Okay, thank you.
But we need to probably get somebody to mow it if Kenny's not gonna mow it. We probably need to find somebody a one-time cut, I guess, or you just can leave it like it is.
What I can do is I can go take a look at it tomorrow to see if it was finished from Kennedy stating that he would. And then if not, then does the board just want me to find someone that can clean it up for us for this one time? Or does the board want to do a formal approval of bringing someone next month to approve to do it once?
I think since everything's slowing down, we can just go ahead and start with the new contractor.
Okay.
Okay. Are we ready for the item, the 9B? The recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Board.
Yes, this was brought to the agenda by James again. I know we had previously discussed seeking recommendations from the P&Z board for either rezoning or adding any building restrictions, the platting of the property out there, and the P&Z board is welcome to entertain that, but they were needing actual recommendations and suggestions from the EDC board to bring to them to comment on. And that's where we last left off this time, the last time this item was discussed. And I know Eric had discussed it as well, because he was part of the conversation. But so I don't know, James, do you want to take this one since this was your agenda item again?
Yes, I guess the zoning and the building inspector wanted to know what our guidelines was gonna kind of be out there. And then, I had a suggestion on getting the thing plotted, and see what our restrictions need to be out there. There might not need to be none, but we just need to let them know what we got going on out there. But I just really need to think we just need to get that place cut, section off. So whenever we do get somebody out there, we can set it out straight. Because I think we should have probably been thinking about this before we even try to put anybody out there. But we just need to get the zoning committee and the building inspector, something, because it's been 2 months. And I know you want to get input from us as a board, but you need to kind of, go out and see what you think and kind of put it down and bounce it off us, and we just give you our opinion on it.
The way it was last left, I believe, was the P&Z board was seeking recommendations from the EDC board, and I had asked the board for their opinions and any suggestions and ideas, and was not given any, and that's where it was last left. I was not given direction to provide a set of ideas for the board to review, and if you would like me to do that, I can, but if it's something that the P&Z board is seeking from the EDC board of directors, I was under the assumption that the board would make those recommendations.
I guess we want to give you directions to to get that done for us. Just give us that, we give you directions to.
Okay, but I don't know exactly what you want me to get for you. Exactly. I don't know what the board wants regarding the platting of property at the industrial park, or any guidelines or building restrictions.
Okay, so what is it specifically, James, that you're wanting?
Well, I definitely want to get it all plotted out there. I want that. But we don't know what restrictions we gonna have out there for buildings that's coming. We don't know what size building. We don't know.
Okay, all right, so if we don't know that, then are you looking to just have the land sectioned off in a particular size? Different sections, that's something that would have to be defined then, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I know it's gonna be a lengthy process, but we just need to, we might not need to, but that's just my opinion of it. But we just need to have some kind of guidelines. We just can't get somebody out there and we don't have no restrictions or this or that. We just need something.
There was a set of codes that was sent in one of the previous board packets when this was discussed. It's on the city's ordinances about because it's all zoned as industrial out there, and there are a set of guidelines for certain things, and that we briefly discussed it. Eric, I don't know if you want to touch on that, because I know you're the one that sent me the information about the codes and the restrictions, but there's some standards out there for what can and cannot be put out there.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in and just a quick review for everybody. I looked back at my notes when I saw this on the agenda. So the first thing was to figure out what the city's got on it, and the entire industrial park is zoned as it's a factory industrial zone. We only have one zone like that. It's F1. There's 3 divisions, right? The first division is basically light manufacturing, industrial use, warehouses, research and testing laboratories, distribution centers, that type of stuff. They've got a division 2, stadiums and arenas, indoor swap meets, breweries, liquid fertilizer manufacturing, that type thing. And then there's a 3rd division all the way up to auto dismantling yards, alcohol manufacturing, paper manufacturing, so on. So everything from light industrial to heavy industrial. The only restrictions associated with each of those divisions are the minimum lot sizes, and they're not very big. For the smallest, it's 50 by 75. For the middle division, it's 75 by 100. And for the largest, it's 100 by 150. Those are the minimum lot divisions. There are no, go ahead.
Can you go through those again one time?
Sure.
Eric, I'm sorry.
So let's just say it's, so you don't have to keep
Just
up
1,
with
2, and 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3, light, medium, and heavy, right?
Yeah.
So for light, the minimum lot size is 50 by 75. For medium, it's 75 by 100. And for heavy, it's 100 by 150. There are no setback requirements. And there's a minimum, maximum building height of 60 feet for light industrial and 80 feet for all others, which is, they put that in there because that's a little different from the height restrictions that we have in the rest of the city. But as Joanna was saying, that pretty much encompasses everything that's in the zoning ordinance. And so just a quick review, we've had this discussion about, okay, so we've got like frontage on 14. Did we want to make sure we kind of divvied up the frontage on 14 because that would in theory be more valuable than land further out, say down at the end of Progress Boulevard that didn't have any frontage on 14. The other thing is, what size lots did we want to plat, like Mr. Wiley's talking about? Did we want to do, 100 by 200 with frontage on 14? And then as we get back in the industrial park, did we want to do it a little bigger? And I think that's kind of where Joanna's going, is y'all need to have that discussion and say, yeah, let's draw off on a piece of paper and here's what we'd like to do. Smaller lots up front or bigger lots in the back. And then what might be worth your while is to take whatever you're thinking about doing and go into the Planning and Zoning Commission, because you got all those folks with all that experience sitting on that board, and say, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Have you got any suggestions for it? And kind of like Mr. Wiley's talking about, that way you could get involved in a back and forth process. But I just would remind you, A, it's going to take some time, and B, if you're actually going to plat it and make it a plat of record, there's going to be survey requirements and there's going to be filing requirements, right? And then each one of the platted parcels is going to have to be assigned a tax ID number. So you're going to have to maintain those in your portfolio. Not anything bad, but what I'm saying is you're going to increase your administrative requirement, and you're going to have a little upfront cost, because in order to plat it, you're going to have to do survey.
Or is everything under this may be a silly question to some, but is everything under the EDC, are we able to file for an ag exemption as far as that 630 acres, or is it non-relevant?
I don't know, Jake, while you keep talking, let me look that up and I'll see.
And I mean, the reason I asked that, I like the idea of what James is saying as far as breaking these plats down. I think we could really attract some mom and pop shops that are here in Mexia, some, industrial type people, or that, people that provide services that can go, hey, we've got this out here if you ever want to relocate, and, try to get into the business end. That way, everybody knows where to go to find them, instead of going down Sumter Street or something like that. But if it's going to be an added cost as far as, on the tax roll, we lose, we're sitting there gaining things out. I think we ought to be able to have a plan to go, hey, we will, if you're serious about committing to it, we'll sit there and section you off 100 by 200 right here at the front. And then we'll approach it then once we have somebody committed, compared to go ahead and doing it, increasing it in expense, and we're not getting any benefit of it yet.
So in terms of property tax, EDC isn't going to pay property tax because it's a nonprofit or a not-for-profit.
Okay.
So
We are exempt from taxes.
they're going to be
Okay.
Now,
That answers my question then.
the minute you have a tenant, if the EDC was to sort of be a landlord and lease property to somebody, then they're going to have a tax issue. But so long as you own it and you're not using it for, leasing it, or you've not sold it to somebody that is a for-profit entity, you maintain that exemption.
So the stuff that we have leased now, it's actually being taxed. Is that what I'm understanding?
Should be.
Okay.
Okay, but there would still be the expense associated with platting it, surveying it, and the logistics of sectioning it off.
Did we lose James?
Well, and
Yeah.
I think the reason that when we had that discussion here a few months back, I think was that, going with it like we have it right now, we very could lock ourselves out of some property and not have access. If we just randomly putting people in places, that's why that's plotting that out.
Plotting it out into sections so that every part of the property is accessible.
Yes, and that way we could possibly utilize every inch of the property.
I was about to say, could we just go in there and make a just a dry sketch of everything and go, hey, these are the lots we're going to do, and section it out. And then as people come by, kind of advertise it like that, instead of go ahead and plotting it out and having that expense. Just go, hey, here are the proposed plots. Let's stick it, if you're interested in plot 13 here, then we go in there, pay the survey and all that once everything's committed to it.
So kind of like unofficially sectioning off pieces of the industrial park to market rather than actually platting it at the time. Because I know we discussed this previously. I think platting it right now when there's nothing out there new can cause an issue. I understand the landlocking concern, I do. But when you have, say you have 10 acres here, 10 acres there, 20 acres there, and you have someone who needs 23 acres of land, that becomes an issue when it's already been platted for those designated amounts. They're not going to want to buy the entire section of 25 acres when they need less than that, but they have to combine, and that causes a lot of issues with the tax office because you have to replat it and you have to resection it and add new paperwork, and that's expensive and you have to resurvey it. I like that idea of kind of setting up a preliminary.
Just for marketing purposes.
Right.
If somebody wants, would you say we have a section of 20 acre plots and somebody wants 25 acres? Okay, we can adjust accordingly.
Right, because it's not done in the tax office. It's not official on paper. I think that's a good idea.
Joanna, for that project, something that might be useful. I think they still have the office closed, but you can talk to Limestone Appraisal District, and they can pull off and print off for you on pretty good size sheets how the industrial park is divided into parcels now. And that may give you a base document that you could hand out to everybody to just look at and say, these are the limits of the property as they exist now.
Okay.
Joanna, I would like for you to get with Justin as far as once he sends us that data about who's been looking at our site, and what kind of companies are being marketed to Mexia that kind of what they're looking for. That way we have some sort of a basis to go off of.
That's a good idea, just based off what the size of land they typically look for on average.
Yeah.
So when I get that information, I can pass it along to the board. I can also get the copy of that map to the board, and we can maybe everyone kind of make a suggestion what they in like a preliminary sketch, or even just drawing lines on the map of what they think would best suit, and we can kind of compare notes or have a separate meeting to kind of just like a workshop to kind of just compare and go through and get a whole actual set of recommendations that are consistent with each other to present to P&Z.
Well, I like it. Let's step in the right direction.
Okay. How does that sound, James?
I
Were
think
you
you're
able-
muted, James.
You're muted. We can't hear you.
There you are.
Okay.
Yeah, just talk to the, zoning committee and the building inspector and just get their opinion on what they think. We might be leaving something out. And you can get the map off the appraisal district website. The parcel, the number.
Yeah, well, that's the thing the P&Z board wanted. They wanted the recommendations from the board first before bringing it to them. They can't give an actual recommendation until they get an idea of what the board is looking for. And that's what the first step had to be. And that's why nothing ever proceeded from that. We never took the first step in getting the actual.
The first step. We never
I'm sorry?
took the first step.
Yes, that's exactly. We have to let P&Z know what the EDC board is looking at. And then when we make a recommendation to them, they can comment and make their recommendations based off what we are presenting them to see if that's something they agree with or something that they think should be changed or altered to fit what, in their expertise, if that would work or not.
Yeah. I mean, and you need to, have your input too on some things we might miss, because we might not have all the information. I'm just saying, just help us out.
I will do my best.
Okay, so for now, because we need to move on from this item, we need to get the paper maps and kind of everybody draw out what they think that how we should parcel it out and have that soft copy of outline of the park for marketing purposes.
Yes, I'll get all the information I can together for the board and send it out as soon as I get it all compiled with the map and the website data for recommended acreage sizes. And then we can roll from there and then get together at the next meeting or set up a separate workshop later to discuss.
Have a good day.
Okay, so is there a motion for this item or?
Nope, just discussion only.
Okay,
Did we lose somebody? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Jay?
I
I'm
think
here
he's-
still.
Okay, okay. All right, so we can move on to the next item, the commercial revitalization grant. Discussion and possible action regarding an extension request to a commercial revitalization grant performance agreement with Condon Properties due to the delay in the installation of windows at the property located at 115 East Commerce.
Yes, Mr. Scott Condon was just requesting an extension. His agreement to get the windows installed for this property was at the end of the month, and he said he will not be able to make it. He did already purchase the windows. There's a picture that was in your packet showing that he does actually have the windows. The labor has just been the problem, not having someone to actually put the windows in. And he's just requesting an extension through November 30th to get the windows installed.
Make the motion,
I
that
moved it.
the extension.
Seconded.
Okay, it's been motioned and second that we extend the commercial revitalization grant for Scott for Condon Properties. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, Navarro College Fall Festival, discussion and possible action regarding a request from Navarro College to use MEDC owned property adjacent to the College, Mexia campus for their fall festival hayride.
Yes, Christina Mims, the Dean of Navarro College campus here in Mexia, reached out to me. They're having a fall festival, and this is the first time they're doing it. And because they have a John Deere department at Navarro College, and they're going to be providing a hayride, and they own some of that property that's next to the parking lot in Navarro, but the rest of that is EDC owned property, and they were just requesting use of that land just for the hayride for the tractor to bring people through on it. And I just had her send me a letter just requesting it formally, so the board was aware that it was happening if they allow permission of that. I don't see any damage that would happen to the property for what they're doing for the community for their event.
Chris, as far as liability goes, what happens if little Johnny falls off the trailer and the tractor runs him over on our property?
Well, whether you're right or wrong, you certainly don't want to go along for the ride. So is the college interested in indemnifying us, or they have an insurance policy that's going to cover them for the festival?
I did not discuss that with her, but I'm sure they have. I can confirm with her if they have some sort of insurance for the event or with the college that would cover that.
What does this look like? Is it just make it?
Can you say that one more time? I think Jake's mic was getting picked up.
What does the property look like? Is it just a vacant lot, or what is it?
It's just land. It's just land. Vacant lot.
I would ask if they confirm that they've got insurance for the event,
Okay.
and ask that we be added as a named insured just for the day of the event, in the event that, you know, something happens.
Okay.
And if there's a wrinkle in that, then we might have an agreement to indemnify us for anything that happens.
Can you say that one more time?
If
That last part.
we're not able to do that, we may need to talk about getting an indemnity agreement from them where they agree to indemnify us for anything that happens.
Okay.
When is the festival?
It is on October 20th.
Oh,
So
Okay,
next week.
wow.
let's get on that.
Okay.
So can the board make a motion to approve it contingent upon those
Yes.
those things with the insurance?
I move that we approve contingent upon insurance or an indemnity of no liability.
Second.
Second.
Okay. It's been motioned and second that we approve with the conditions mentioned. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11 is the 2021 holiday schedule.
Joanna, is there still enough here for a quorum if I leave?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to step out. I appreciate everybody. I look forward to the future and trying to make Mexia a better place, but I've got to go celebrate a birthday.
Okay.
I thank y'all.
you.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Jake. Okay. Yeah, this is just a standard beginning of fiscal year administrative thing. The city council approved the holiday schedule, and it's the same schedule that we use for holidays for the EDC.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the holiday schedule for the MEDC for the fiscal year 2021.
So moved.
Second. Second.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 13, the city manager's report. Eric, you're up.
Thank you, Madam President. Just one thing before I get into COVID, just some dates for the EDC board members and any of your friends and family, we're starting to enter into the holiday season. There are some things going on. It was already mentioned about the Navarro College Festival in the afternoon of the 20th. Your next city council meeting will be at 6:30 p.m. That's a change to the time on Tuesday, October 20th. Mexia Downtown is putting together the Boo Bash. What they're going to do this year is down along Commerce Street between Paris and Railroad. They're really going to try and space the cars and the stations out for social distancing, but still try and have something to hand out candy. That's October 31st, which is a Saturday, October 31st, from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. in downtown Mexia. November 4th at 11:30, there'll be a grand reopening of the Gibbs Memorial Library. We closed the temporary library down on Main Street here early in the month, made the big move. They're over there putting up shelves, putting books on the shelves, getting computers up and running. And Shindy tells me she's going to be ready to go on November 4th. She's glad to be back over there, back in the library. It really looks nice. If you haven't had a chance to go over there, the folks who did the restoration did a really good job. It's going to be a fantastic facility for the city. As a reminder, November 11th is Veterans Day and City Hall is going to be closed. And your regular meeting of the City Council for November will be on November 17th. Getting into the COVID, Limestone County as a whole continues to see new cases of COVID. However, the rate of new cases appears to be in decline. We were averaging above 10 new cases a day. For the past 2 weeks, we've averaged below that number, like in the 3, 5, 7 type thing, but we are down below. We are less than 10 new cases per day. The total number of deaths attributed to COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic is 15. And since the start of the pandemic, for the tracking that we have of the entire population in Limestone County, just less than 2.7% of the entire population of the county have been confirmed as positive. I already talked about the library restoration. Just set that date for you on there. Like I say, we're about 90% complete as of today, and we're looking to be 100% by November 4th. On the update on the Hughes City Park Sports Complex, I skipped that one on you. You may have noticed some work out there. City purchased 11 acres on that south side of Tyler as you go up towards Red River. We got the new fence up, the new boundary up, started mowing out there. That's officially a part of the park now. We're waiting on the engineer. I've gotten a look at the 50% drawings, and we're going to show those to the city council on the meeting on the 20th, looking to try and get the 100% drawings done by the end of this month, first part of November. Got to submit those to Texas Parks and Wildlife, get their approval on it. That's usually about a 30-day process. So what we're looking at is we're hoping during December to schedule that official groundbreaking ceremony and begin demolition of the existing facilities in earnest. We got some good news on downtown Christmas decorations. You may recall we've already purchased a Christmas tree, and we'll have a new Christmas tree that'll be up on the southeast corner of Sherman and Main, a big 14-foot tall new artificial tree. We were trying to get to downtown lighted Christmas decorations. This Christmas doesn't look like we're going to make it, but we did get some good news. There was going to be a considerable expense to change the power because the power for the street lights was on 220 power. Encore has agreed at no cost to the city to step that down to 110. So we'll be able to use that power. We'll have another project where we got to put outlets on the poles and buy the lights, but hopefully by Christmas 2021, we'll have Christmas decorations downtown. Mr. Wiley mentioned the joint committee on citywide cleanup, what we're calling the J3C. Had its first meeting the other night, had a really long meeting, a couple of hours, had some really good ideas. I know it's been very important to the board members here. The cosmetics of the city, just the optics, keeping the trash picked up, keeping the demolishing the buildings, demolishing houses that are derelict, making sure they were getting condemned, and just basically the overall state of the city. The code enforcement officer has been issuing a number of tickets and gave us a report the other night. He had 43 citations that have been issued. And most of those looks like folks are complying with. A few of them will have to go to municipal court, but we are aggressively pursuing that. And this committee came up with some priorities that we'll be discussing. One of the things they talked about that I know some of the directors are concerned about is this building down here on Commerce. We need to find a way to get it down. It's a real eyesore downtown. And then the next big priority after that was trying to come up with some cleanup type weekend where the city got a whole bunch of dumpsters, centrally located them, put the word out about it well in advance and said, hey, why don't you clean up the stuff in your yard and bring it on over and put it in these dumpsters? So there's some really exciting things going on with that. Right now we're in the planning stage, but we got the right group of people together. Richard Nelson, who's the publisher of the paper, he's agreed to be the president of it. He's got some experience with organizing volunteer groups, and he seems to be real positive about he's going to go out and help us get some volunteer groups to organize as we organize cleanup days. So pending any questions, that concludes my city manager report.
Okay, thank you, Eric.
Thanks,
Any
Eric.
questions? Okay, so the next item is our executive session item. The Mexia EDC board may adjourn into executive session as authorized by Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for the following purposes. 551.074 personnel discussion regarding the annual performance review of the MEDC director, and then possible action from the executive session. So shall we enter into executive session
Yes.
at 6:44?
Yes, so I think Chris will need to stop the recording.
And so
We're
I
back to
will,
session.
okay. Okay, so now I would entertain a motion to adopt this document as the 2020 annual performance review for the EDC director. Can I get a motion for that?
So
moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, so it's been motioned and second that this would be the document for the performance review for the MEC director. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Item 15, the MEDC activity report.
All right, thank you. I'll make it quick because I know this is a late meeting, but I appreciate y'all being here. Did anyone have any questions about the activity report that was sent out? The only thing I wanted to make a note of was Alicia Cook with Opportunity Strategies called me today to offer a registration to the annual conference, which is virtual this year, as she's a sponsor. She's the one that came in and did the workshop with the EDC board for a half day last year and with the chamber. And she's was kind enough to offer it to us, so they'll save us a couple $100 for a conference registration. So I'm thankful for that, and I was very happy she thought of me for that. So that just happened this afternoon, so I was excited to hear from her about that. Other than that, did anyone have any questions for me about the items in the activity report, or did anyone have any future agenda items?
I just got one. I got one question.
Sure.
I don't know if we need to talk about it in executive session, but I know we had two people that was interested in on I guess Progress Boulevard or Industrial Park, and I guess they kind of faded away. I ain't heard nothing about it since Dr. Pittman left.
Yeah, so we got to the point where we had the letters of intent provided to them. It was approved by the board and by city council. And once they received them, so the way these consultants work, they go and find different locations for the businesses that they work for and present to them each proposal. And if the business is interested in any of the proposals, they will proceed with them. And we did not make those short lists. So it just was at a standstill. So nothing ever came from them, unfortunately. But, you know, being that we had 2 letters of intent for 2 different properties, I see that as still a positive thing because we are getting some interest in the industrial park by different companies. So I wish it would have panned out a little better, but, you know, I can only do so much in controlling that. But I think there's always opportunities in the future, but just getting the attention and to those points, I still think is progress.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there is progress, but I just didn't understand. I know you already knew, but it just seemed like it just faded out and never did, nobody never did get said yay or nay. You know, we didn't know. I didn't know.
I mentioned it previously before after I heard back from nothing from Turcotte, and then with the other company from New Jersey. This was months ago because I
Oh,
think the LOIs were. I'm sorry.
You emailed it out to us?
I don't think I emailed that. I think it was summarized in one of my monthly reports at the board meeting.
Okay,
This was months ago.
when your weekly reports?
Either a weekly report or during one of the meetings during my activity report, because I remember I presented that to council as well during one of the meetings on my reports to them.
Okay. I guess I missed that one.
Okay. So that's all of our,
Just for FYI, Joanna, I just come by the industrial park there on 14, where they had the water leak, and he has finished mowing all the way to the end.
He did?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Chunky.
wow.
Well, that's a little bit of a relief.
Okay, so I think that's the end of our meeting items, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, well, thank you guys so much.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you guys.